earlier, I sent it and she didn't see it. I always see it. Oh, am I recording or you?
I just hit record. Oh, I'm just going to allow record.
Okay, let's see. I am going to.
I can edit out. Yay.
And then start back. So, wait, I don't know if that's you recording or me, but.
You should be able to see it on the bottom where it says pause, stop recording. If that's on, it will say stop recording.
Okay, so it is currently recording.
Okay.
So that I can start it where it's just the interview part. Okay. When you tell me to go, I'll start.
Okay, well, let's do this. Hi, I'm Petra Monaco, the CEO of The Rebel's Den, and with me today I have my friend Nahkila Isha, who I started working with 3 years ago, became her virtual assistant, and she's now my spiritual mentor, but we're also friends. So I'm excited to have her here because for me personally, talking to spirit and all the things is an art form. But before we dive into that, why don't you share a little bit about you?
Okay. Well, first of all, I like to say I'm so excited because you bring out my inner child, and that's when I have the most fun. So I'm grateful for our friendship and also to be here with you. But hi, everyone. I am Nahkila Isha of Ashworth Scott. I'm a divine interpreter. I interpret messages and methods from the divine to empower you to create and live an abundant life. So what that means in short, Spirit just gave me this fancy name for it, but I'm a psychic medium and I connect to Spirit, and Spirit guides me on how to assist you in releasing what's no longer serving you so that you can just fully step into your purpose and live your life as your best self.
Yeah, and I've been watching you, you've been watching me, and we're just kind of like, first we were sort of like, I'm over here and you're over there, Petra, I need you to do this. So it got done, and all of a sudden we're in these Voxer conversations, right?
Yeah.
For sometimes hours even, just connecting on this deeper level. And so this friendship has formed, and I was like, I could use a mentor, and you're like, here I am.
Let me serve you back. You've been serving me.
Yeah. But one of the things that may seem weird to other people is, for me, this is an art form. It's, just like somebody paints a picture, or me wood burning, or a musician, this is an art form as well. I don't know if it's how you connect to spirit, but how did you get into this? What happened?
Well, let's see. In short, I was at what I call my spiritual bottom, and I was so miserable that I was just living, but I was living. And I have two children, so I literally say this like suicide wasn't an option, and they were the only reasons why at the time. That's how bad it was. And I had began meditating again every day, and I had been asking, what is my purpose? And when I was meditating on something totally different, I heard life coaching. And so literally I jumped into it, went to school and got certified in a bunch of stuff, and my life began to unfold. And as I started to do healing, and I've hired coaches and mentors and done some work alone, that's when my gift got strong, because we're all born with the psychic gift. But I used to joke around and say I'm psychic because I've always been highly intuitive, and it just continued to grow from there. The more I allowed spirit to guide me, the stronger it got. And so here I am now, like hearing spirit as clearly as I hear you.
Yeah. To me, I'm still on my own journey. I mean, we both know I'm pretty intuitive. I mean, I can walk in a room and know things. I just know things about people, which is creepy to some maybe. Because I just, like, oh my God, what do you mean? What do you know? My deepest darkest secrets. But that's not really it, right? But you just kind of know from the energy of maybe where they are, or if they're struggling with something, something's going on. Usually when you have a conversation, the story unfolds for you, like they're talking, and all of a sudden, oh, so that happened. And you just kind of end up doing that without being like creepy.
Right. I can totally relate. I've actually lost a friend because of that. And at the time, I wasn't even tuned in or tapped in, but she would say things like, you always know what's going on and I don't tell you. And I'm like, what? I had no clue. Now I understand. It was scary to her, So now I've learned to not talk about things in normal life and even in business unless spirit tells me to. That's my rule of thumb.
Yeah, I really had to turn my own thing, like, okay, zip it. This is not the time and point. Or be like, Nahkila, I need to take a bath in all the crystals.
Right, I'm right there with you. Google tub. So yeah. Oh, sorry.
I just about your work. So suicide was not an option, and I'm kind of glad you brought that up, because part of the Rebel's Den is about being socially responsible and bringing some social issues up and some of the struggles that we may experience. I'm not against manifesting in abundance, as you know, but it can be really, really hard to wrap your head around the concept and the process. I've been there.
Right.
Not suicidal in a traditional sense, but more in the self-destructive sense, right?
Yeah.
What guidance do you have, or words of wisdom, or whatever, if somebody is just struggling and suicide is a thought, but they know it's not an option?
Right. Well, let me just say that when I was a teenager, I actually did attempt suicide. And I failed miserably, obviously. But at that time, I didn't really have a reason to keep going. And now when I look at life, even to this point, I was so grateful that I didn't succeed. The time as an adult where I felt like it could have been an option without my children kept me going. And in that instance, I would say just remembering that this is so cliche, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is within you. You're the light. And so what I found is that when we're experiencing these lows, that's literally our lesson phase. That's where we're learning how to move into our purpose. If I hadn't been at my bottom at that low of a low, then I wouldn't be equipped to help others that are there now. So just remember that everything you're going through, there's purpose in your experiences, there's purpose in your pain. And if you can just fight through it, it does get better. But not just fight through it, but take forward action into making it better. Doing what you're led to do to make it better. And that's what I did. I didn't wait. When I received guidance, I jumped on it. So it's not enough to just say, I like change. Take the action to create the change.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And so I know your work can feel very much about love and light, but because I know you, I know you acknowledge the dark side. And I know that even for you, you'll have some crap days, you have some hard days, right? Like that still happens. Just because you have this gift doesn't mean everything is like rainbow glitter, barf, roses and stuff.
Right. Right. I mean, I like to lather myself in glitter, but no, the truth is it's not. And it's not realistic to believe that it's going to be. And personally, I don't feel like it's realistic to represent that it is. So for me, transparency is so important, because for someone that's in the midst of their bottom and they see me all glittered down and rainbows, they're like, I don't relate to that. It's just not realistic. In order for us to understand our light and fully embrace it, we must those dark periods and embrace that as well. We're a dual being. It's not one or the other. And I find by embracing them both, it allows the vibration to just elevate even higher, and it allows me to relate deeper with others.
Yeah, I love that. It's probably why we have this special connection, because there is no, oh, it's all just love and light, just be positive, because frankly, life isn't always going to be positive. And that's part of the humaning being in this world right now.
Yeah. So
So
true.
I kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you kind of do. More than kind of.
Just a little. And while we're on that topic, I know we're going to be goofy together. Sorry, everybody. If so they're in this dark pit, right? Like they're struggling, they want to get out of it, and they want to take action. They're like, yeah, I want to take action. How have you found inspiration, and how can they find inspiration to get going? Because I think the hardest part is just, for me, it's that first step.
Right. This is going to sound so unbelievably simple, but it is the actual way you get started, it starts with meditation. That it's so simple, but that's where it starts. And the thing is, what kind of makes it challenging is people are operating in a space of being so used to not catering to self or practicing self-care that something as simple as meditating for 5 to 10 minutes a day, they can't stick to it, you know? So even before any healing takes place, hiring anyone to work with you, just start meditating. That's where it started for me. And by asking the questions, being clear that I wasn't okay living in that low point and truly seeking guidance, I received it. And it was just through meditating.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
And you don't have to meditate for an hour. Let me just put that out there.
No,
because
that's all. I mean, I added the 10. In reality, 5 is all it takes.
Well, you know, and here's the flip side. Some people, like myself, don't meditate.
Right.
Because I, for one, don't resonate with that on the deeper level. I have, I journal. That is my go-to, is the writing. So if people are like, oh God, meditating, no, I can't do it, hate it.
Right.
What would you say to maybe just give it a try?
Well, I would say, even if you're not someone who chooses to go, like for me, I don't sit in this yoga pose, legs crossed, crisscross applesauce. I like to lay down when I meditate. There's no right or wrong as long as your spine is aligned. But even if you're not into that, just taking 5 steps can help you get centered. It can help you, bring yourself to that calm space. That really is enough. So if you're not into like the full on meditating, just breathe deeply, because our breath is sacred. And that's literally what connects us to the divine. And then also on top of that, if we pay attention to our breathing, we're usually taking these quick, shallow breaths. And what we're doing is we're keeping ourselves in a constant state of anxiety, which is no good for us or anyone else. So when we just slow, we're bringing ourselves back into that balance. So 5 deep breaths, all it takes.
Nice. So we've covered the dark side. We've covered, all right, this is how you get started. How do you raise your spirit? I mean, for me, I will tell you, it's music all day long on the loudest level and obnoxious level I can possibly get it, without offending, pissing people off. What do you do to raise your spirit, or even for your clients? What have you noticed or known to help?
Well, for me personally, literally it's breathing, meditation, also salt baths. I mean, that literally, if I'm in a space where and I point this way because my bathroom's in that direction, but when I'm in a space where I'm just feeling a little off, oh my goodness, I'll get in that tub with these special blends of salts that I create, and I'm in there for hours. That helps, but then also connecting to my inner child, just allowing myself to put the adulting aside and connect with the little Nahkila, it does wonders for my spirit. As far as clients, it's a combination of things. Like for you, music, others, the salt bath is big, the meditation. It's just taking yourself on a date. It just really varies. Really about doing something that feels good to your soul.
Yeah. We're going to shift some gears, because that's what I like to do. We're going to shift gears. So before you hired me as your virtual assistant,
yes.
What steps did you take to get started? So we know you did certifications and you got your trainings, but the actual putting it together, what were like the first steps to even get going?
Wow. So the first steps after the schooling, and I will say the schooling was a part of it, because it wasn't the typical school, because I was learning how to help people release trauma and heal. There was a component where as well. Also, I hired mentors. I've worked with a few different mentors, and that helped me to really dedicate myself to that self-love and putting me first. I also do a lot of maintenance, a lot of self-care. And what I've come to know is, even when you release and you heal to a certain point, it's continuous. So although to some, they may see me as this healing guru, I'm a human, and there's maintenance involved. So every month I'm still doing my maintenance. Does that answer your question? I sometimes ramble, and I feel like I just did that.
I love your rambles. It kind of sort of helped, but not really, maybe. I don't know. I mean,
Ask me again.
No, I mean, clearly the first step was to get your training and then hire certain people. Um,
Right.
but so I know you work in person with people, you work online with people, primarily
Yeah.
online though, right?
Yes, primarily do a monthly in-person gathering, spiritual happy hour, but everything else is virtual. And then I do retreats that's also in person.
How did you start online? I mean, I think that is sometimes speak it. Sometimes the biggest struggle for anybody, no matter what they want to do, is getting online. How did
Right,
you get
right.
there?
Well, for me, I knew that my ideal, or anything that I do, I like to be mobile. I like to be able to have the freedom to move as I choose to. And so online was just the natural thing for me because it allows me to serve from wherever I am in the world. And so it really wasn't something that was like a step. It was just something I always knew when I was going to do this work that it would be virtual. So yeah, so I do a lot of connecting on social media, Zoom for face-to-face events. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's all
I don't
right.
feel like that's
Like,
the answer to your question, but for
no,
me, that's how.
no, you're good. Like I think sometimes people even expect bigger answers, but sometimes it's
Yeah,
just that. It's not really as complicated as some people may want to make it believe. And like, you have to hire me because it's complicated. That's not even it. You
yeah,
literally, the work I do for you, we know you can do yourself.
yeah.
You've done it
Some of it,
before you. Well, yeah, okay. Landing pages might be tricky,
right?
but
Let's be real here. I can do some of it.
but there was definitely things. I mean, you've done things on your own, and I've watched you do them, and you have done them. And I think sometimes the technical aspects of the online world, if you will, can scare people to not take action. If that
Yeah.
is a thing for anybody that's listening, what is your advice?
My advice is just move forward. When I started this, I literally set the intention that Spirit would provide me with the right people, the right opportunities, and the right doors would be open that will serve my highest good and allow me to serve. And literally, that's been what's happened. So I didn't think about like what I couldn't do. I just took those steps and did what I could. And as things started to shift, just like you came into the picture, that's how it's been happening. So setting the intention and then just moving.
Yeah. I think it's really important to just get started no matter how imperfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, let's ditch the perfection rule right out the
Yeah.
window. I don't believe in it. And it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be perfect. I mean, my original website underwent, can't even tell you how many changes. I can't tell you. I have no idea. Um, but I think
Yeah.
there is that fear, like, oh my gosh, it needs to be perfect. But
Right.
it doesn't have to be. You just need to say, this is what I do, and this is how
Yeah.
I can help you. Done.
Right. And you know, the beautiful thing about that is that the people that are following you, they get to witness your journey. So we're literally not here to be these figures of perfection. We're here to be these
You
examples,
see
you
my
know?
space?
So like if they can grow, then they know they can do it too. You know, so literally just allow yourself to just be you. Like sometimes we get caught up in the mask of how we're expected to be, but if we can just be us, we're serving and just being, you know, even without opening our mouths, just allowing people to watch our journey. That's us serving. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is why my space looks the way it does, because as you know, I'm an open book. Transparency is my name of the game, and being in integrity is the other part of it. And I know that's yours too, being in integrity and always true to self, and then moving forward. And I don't really know where I'm going with that.
Feel so bad now. But see, now I understand you because I understand what you're saying. So okay, that means you understood me too.
Well, yeah. This is what friendship looks like, y'all. And I think, oh, excuse me, that's the other piece. Don't be afraid to become friends with your clients or the people
Yes.
that you work with or for. I
Right.
think part of the, like, I have lots of friends that I've worked with, and they're my friends and vice versa. But there's also that hidden underlining thing, like, you can't be friends with your clients.
Right, right. And I totally agree with that. And because I am such an introvert that loves to do extroverted work, when I start to feel like a bond forming, and this is me, like I confirm with spirit that it's okay to move forward in that bond, because of all of those misconceptions of how work relationships are supposed to be. And now I'm getting to the point where it's like I'm creating my reality. And so if I feel it, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay to move forward. So I agree. I totally believe in that family unit. And even those that I feel like we become family. It's not like this hierarchy where I'm above you. I'm on my journey with you. And I just may be a vessel that spirit uses to deliver information that you're not tapping into. And then there's times where my clients do the same with me. So it's really a give and take.
Well, don't we know about that? Hey, Petra,
Yeah.
spirit wants me to tell you. Are you okay to hear it?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty about working online or even going to in-person things, and being open to not just a professional relationship. I mean, we keep it pretty professional-ish.
Yeah. Meaning the work gets done
The
when
work
it's
gets done, and that's what matters, right? Like the work gets done, things are off the list, and then there's this other space where, like, oh, Nahkila, I really need this bath of crystals because this energy from this one person was just literally sucking the life out of me.
right.
And you're like, all right, do this or do that. Like, you're able to just be there.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
can be hard for people because you hold space for me a lot.
I don't think you realize how much, there's times where I'll be in my head, even, I'm big on aesthetics. So I'll send you requests to like, it'll be like, can you down, or can you make it my instead of two, or, little things like that. And if I were doing it myself, it would be no issue. But because I'm reaching out for you to do it, I know some people aren't that meticulous with things like that. And so you always make me feel comfortable and okay with expressing my vision. You know what I mean? I don't ever feel like I'm bugging you. And that in itself, it allows me to look at, why are you in your, you know what I mean? So it allows me to work on the things that I'm like, okay, Nahkila, go ahead and heal this and move this out of the way. So I thank you. And even as a friend, I talk to you about personal stuff I'm going through too. So it really is that 100% with us.
Yeah, and that's why I was excited that you're part of this.
Me too. And I'm grateful that you consider it an art form, because I've never looked at it like that, but it feels good to hear that.
Yeah, so one of my gifts is giving perspective on just about any situation. I'm just able to shift that, right? I'm like, you look at it one way, and then I'll say something, you're like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's one of my gifts. Some people may not like that, but that's the way I look at it, which is a huge part of the Rebel's Den, because I want to share those different perspectives. And yeah, absolutely being able to tap into whatever higher power somebody believes in, spirit, God, I don't even care, whatever names you want to throw out there. It is an art form, because not everybody allows themselves to do that.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah, it's true. I like what you just said, because it is true. We can all do it. It's just we're not all allowing it.
Yeah, and it's really becomes about giving ourselves permission to not only be ourselves, but to really honor that thing, whatever that thing is, even if it's, painting oil paintings and you've held back on that. It's just give you permission to do it anyway. You don't have to sell it.
Yeah.
It's just be for you. And I think that's for you, for your journey. That's how it was for you first. And that's, I think that's where it all starts.
Definitely. Yes. This was, so even though coaching was what I heard when I was in that meditative state. And even in that moment, I wasn't focused on who I was going to serve. At that moment, I was focused on healing me and feeling better. And literally, that was the natural process. But we've been programmed to believe that we've got to serve first and then put ourselves last. So when I think about like the natural flow of it, it started with me. And then when I healed, oh my goodness, this is great. I'd like the entire world to feel like this. And that's when it became this beautiful balance of serving self and others. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
absolutely love that. All right, where in the world can people find you to connect with you?
Well, I am glad you asked, Petra. Clarice. So I can be found on Facebook in the United Light Beings Awakening group. I also have a page, Spiritual Awakening with Nahkila Isha, and I am on YouTube, Nahkila Isha of Ashworth Scott Lifesculpting. I go live every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. So join us on YouTube for that. It's something that a lot of people say they enjoy, and I enjoy serving on that platform.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you being here. And side note, that Clarice comment is an inside joke. One day she emailed me and said, "Hey, Clarice, I happen to love these kind of shows." And so apparently does she. You know, it's just like that's stuck. So Clarice,
yeah. And when I do the email, I'm so totally using the Hannibal Lecter voice, and you totally pick up on it. So
absolutely. That's what makes this world fun. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.